2 years. This is a level 1 credential. There is also a level 2 instructor program, and that is designed for people who have successfully completed the APTA level 1 course, and they want to further develop their clinical teaching skills and construct a clinical curriculum. And this will give PT and PTA participants to the ability to earn 1.7 CEUs in the level 2 credential.
Okay, so yes, so that's about all on that topic, and that's just basically in a nutshell, the clinical instructor certification course is just for any PT or PTA that wants to be a clinical instructor and take an intern. And you don't have to go through that in order to take an intern, but it does make you a better teacher and better instructor. Yeah, good. Okay, so everybody's starting to volunteer here. My goodness. Okay, Jackie is ready to go next.
Okay, my topic was membership to the APTA, and I got all of my information off of apta.org. The APTA has over 100,000 members that are comprised of students, PTs, PTAs, and you have a lot of benefits that you can gain by subscribing to a membership to the APTA. You can get research articles. So if you're a student, that's very helpful because it does have a link to the PT journal, which is an actual medical journal. You have multiple links that you can go to once you're out in the field that you can brush up on your skills and your knowledge about what you're doing in different clinical settings. You have websites that you can go to apply for scholarships and grants for students. They also have a lot of discounts. So they have a APTA store where you can get like pullovers and shirts and different things that have the APTA logo on them. And some of them are pretty big discounts too. Jennifer mentioned the CEUs. They also have places that you can go to subscribe for discounts towards classes and courses. And some of them you can get all of your courses. And the good thing about the APTA website is once you get your membership, you can do all of those through the APTA website, and you have to have 20 every 2 years. So once you do your classes online, it saves your certificates so that you can go out. Sometimes whenever you go to renew your license, you may get audited just to make sure that you have all of your CEUs for the 2 years. So you can print out all of those certificates and send them in if you ever do get audited. Otherwise, you're going to be scrambling to figure out, did I go here? Where did I go? Where did I get this CEU? And you may end up short. So that is a major benefit of joining the APTA. Back to the discounts, like if you decide that you want to travel to go and get your CEUs, you can get discounts on hotels and car rentals and things like that. They also have a GE. So if you need an appliance, if you're an APTA member, you can get discounts on certain items, Office Max, Office Depot, things like that. UPS is another one that they do, which is particularly beneficial if you're contracting out your services. A basic membership starts at about $90. So if you wanted to go and sign up for the APTA, you would have to have a profile before you could apply for membership. So once you create your profile, you can go in and fill out, it's a short form, but it'll ask specifically what field of therapy you're in, which at this point we would, select students. So you would do the student one. Once you actually graduate school, you would send in your diploma or your licensure, and then you get a discount on your APTA membership for up to 3 years, I believe. You can also space those payments out over 6 months time if you decided, because once you go in, you'll sign up for your chapter, which your chapter would be Texas. If you decided you wanted a dual licensure, like if you live close to Oklahoma or Arkansas, you can actually go and add those chapters, or you can add chapters of specialty fields like neuro, pediatrics, any kind of specialty that you might be going into. That way you'll get more pointed info on the specific clinical setting that you're in. So there's a lot of benefits of signing up for the APTA, and you can go to the apta.org to do that.
Very good, very thorough. Thank you very much, Jackie. Okay, lots of benefits for APTA. Sabrina just logged back in. I think she got bumped. Are you here, Sabrina?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Yes.
you can go when you're ready.
Okay. So my name is Sabrina Freire, and today I'm going to talk about how PTAs can go back to school to get their bachelor's degree. So there are many reasons why a licensed PTA would want to go back to school, which would be a potential pay raise or just in continuing their education, and eventually in the hopes of getting their doctorate in physical therapy, and then also potential promotions or leadership positions and enhancing their practice. So the average salary for a physical therapy assistant is $53,000 to $56,000, and the pay raises aren't guaranteed. And if you look up the averages between an associate's or a bachelor's, there's not like a specific number. So it could just vary within your own practice. And then according to the Rasmussen EDU, PTAs are among the top 10 fastest growing occupations in the next decade, according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. So the way I interpreted that is that you're just making yourself more competitive by getting your bachelor's degree with this growing occupation. So continuing your education, so you can stop with a bachelor's or eventually join a bridge program to get your doctorate in physical therapy. 10% of physical therapy assistants end up becoming DPTs. So you could be that 10% if you want to get your bachelor's degree after this. And there was a study that the APTA did on whether or not a bachelor's degree should be required instead of an associate's degree. And what they looked at is like the difficulty level of licensed PTAs with their associates getting into school and seeing how difficult it was. And they noticed that PTAs with a bachelor's degree, this is from the APTA website, that they had a improved confidence resulting from expanded knowledge and skill set, and enhanced job satisfaction through professional achievement. They had increased competitiveness in the job market, and they had the potential for career advancement, doctorate in physical therapy. In the end of the study in 2014, they noticed that because it is a needed profession, that they would keep it as an associate's degree, but most professionals agreed that they would prefer a bachelor's degree. And then lastly, the promotions. You can just amplify your understanding of evidence-based treatment, increase your communication skills, and then just overall increase your professionalism. And I looked into how to apply to get your bachelor's degree with the PTA license. And most programs are about 4 to 5 semesters long. PIMA specifically is 4 semesters, which is about 65 hours. Within these programs, you'll receive most of your prerequisites required for DPT programs. And it's very important to research the programs that you look into, because there's not many that are CAPT accredited. So a few that I noted are PIMA Houston, Concord San Antonio, Clarkson College Nebraska, Siena Heights University, in Adrian, Michigan. So there are schools that do have these programs, but they're not CAPT accredited, so you'd only be able to work in those specific states. So that would be something to look into as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Guys, I hate to be rude. Y'all are doing a very good job so far. Y'all are actually way more thorough than any other cohort has been before. But if y'all can try to condense it a little bit, only because like I love this info, but we got to get everybody through today because I want y'all to get all this information. And I hate being that teacher to tell you to cut it short and like condense it. But if y'all can condense it just a tad as you're going next, okay? Just take a minute or two off. Yes.
Since I know that we are already like saying who's next, but since I did PTA to PT, can I go after her? Because it kind of builds on it.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Sorry, guys. Okay.
Okay, we'll break the order. I'll come back to the order next. So after you go, then I'll take Lindsay. She can go
Okay.
next.
So I did the PTA to DPT bridge. Like Sabrina said, only 10% of PTAs actually go to get their doctorate. So statistically, 3 of us will potentially be doctors of physical therapy. There are 2 bridge programs that are accredited. There are only 2. One's in Ohio. It's a private school, the University of Findlay. They require a bachelor's accredited, graduating from our accredited PTA program. You have to have a year of work experience. And while you're in class, for the bridge, you have to work at least 20 hours a week to continue through their bridge program. And the prerequisites are similar to what we're taking. So it's A&P 1 and 2, chemistry, physics, and statistics. And then the other school is UT Medical Branch. Obviously that's in Galveston. And they have similar prerequisites, A&P 1 and 2, biology, chemistry, physics, but they require 2 years of work experience. So with both of these bridge programs, you have to work for a year or 2 years to even be considered for the program. So I did the math, and to go to the University of Findlay, if you got in every single time, the first time, you would graduate in 2027. And at UT Medical Branch, you would graduate around September of 2027. There is like a third option that's not a bridge, but you could go into a traditional program right after PTA school. And those would be like UT Medical Branch, their traditional program. You would graduate around January 2025. You don't have to do the 20 hours of work a week. And the program technically is shorter. It's 2.3 years, where it's like, I think it's 2.5 if you do the bridge program. And same with Incarnate Word, it's 2.5 years. You graduate in February of 2025. So you don't have to necessarily take a bridge program. You can go the traditional route and kind of use PTA as a way to boost your application. But there are only 2 bridge programs, which also means that there's a lot of people possibly applying for those programs. So it's also limited spacing. But yeah, that's all.
Yes, the spacing is very limited, and those schools are very competitive. We actually have one of our PEMA graduates that's in the bridge program right now at UTMB. I think he was from cohort 5. I know we have one in the program now, and then there's another one from another cohort that's in the process of applying. So yeah, we have graduates that go. So yeah, it's very likely y'all might could go. Okay, very good. Okay, Lindsay, next.
Okay, so my topic is on the APTA Student Conclave. So what is the APTA Student Conclave? So it is a private conference specifically made for students, and it's actually created by students. So that's kind of comforting to know that everyone kind of knows where you're coming from. It features many different speakers from varying backgrounds, clinical program representatives, as well as future career opportunities. It also features many raffles and giveaways and things to kind of keep things fun. So when and where does it take place? So the National Student Conclave, it kind of switches like to states per year. I know last year it was held in New Mexico, and the previous year it was actually in Rhode Island. So there's really no telling, and I can't find any information on the 2021 one yet, especially with COVID. So I'm not for sure on that one yet. But and there's also student conclaves per state. So there actually is a Texas student conclave, but I couldn't find a ton of information on that, so I didn't include it in here. So then it's usually held towards the end of each year around November, and it's usually about 3 to 5 days in length. So how much does it cost to attend? If you're a member of the APTA, it costs $50. And it's if you're not a member, it costs $100. And then bulk registration, if you are registering over 10 students at a time, it'll be $35 per admission. So then how can the student conclave benefit you? So the National Student Conclave is a great resource to learn more about physical therapy, meet new people and students alike, and remain inspired and motivated towards your future career. There will be many networking opportunities to meet and get involved with representatives from various clinical programs and recruitment for future job opportunities. There are often resources helpful to resume building, interview tips, and additional guidance to transition from a student to a working professional with ease. And you can also find out more information on how to get involved in the leadership of the APTA if that's something that you're interested in. And then lastly, who is eligible to attend? So basically all of the PT and PTA students can attend. And also some classes will sponsor their entire class to go to, to the conference, and they can actually get that discounted price that I mentioned earlier of $35 per admission. So that's basically all I have to say, unless anyone has any questions or anything.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, every state has their own student conclave, and it's usually, the Texas one is usually in October, November, because October is PT month. But yeah, like with COVID now, I don't think they're having the meetings in person. So that's probably why you didn't find anything for 2021.
Yeah, I know. This previous year, the national one was all held online. It was all virtually.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next? Let's see. Myrna.
So I had the APTA vision statement for physical therapy, the vision for 2020. It's transforming society by optimizing movement to improve the human experience. And their statement states that they will provide PTs that have doctorates of physical therapy or are board certified specialists. This is to just reflect that the growth of the body knowledge. The consumers will also have direct access to PTs in all environments for the patient care, for management, prevention, and wellness. This includes the diagnosis, interventions, preventions of impairments, functional limitations, disabilities related to movement and function. PTs will be the practitioners of choice and hold privileges of autonomous practice, characterized by being independent, self-determined, professional judgment and actions. PTs also may be assisted by PTAs who are educated and licensed, but they must be directly supervised by the PTs. Physical therapy is guided by integrity, lifelong learning, and commitment for comprehensive and accessibility of health programs for all people. PTs and PTAs will render evidence-based services to improve the quality of society. They will provide culturally sensitive care by trust, respect, and appreciation for individual differences. They will advance themselves in new technologies and basic research. And lastly, they will maintain active responsibility for the growth in their profession to serve people in the health. Okay. And I found this information both on the PTA website, APTA website, and in the book as well.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Very good. All right. So next is LaTanya.
Hi. I had chapters and sections. I found all my APTA website, and also I went to individual chapter websites that are also located on the website. So when you join APTA, you also join a chapter, piggyback for Jackie, I believe. So you join APTA, you're joined into a chapter, which would be the state you're in. So we would be Texas. There's 51 for the states and the District of Columbia. If you needed additional chapters, say like Jackie, she's in Louisiana, she could do Louisiana and Texas. She would just have to add that additional membership. The chapters guide the association's advocacy at the State House. So if there's regional issues, they would, of course, have their own chapter conferences and present those issues when they go to the State House for the state regulations and legislations. Most of the chapters have regional because, of course, Texas is so big, everyone can't be at one place at once. So you have the regionals like Houston would have their own region and so forth, like West Texas, East Texas, things like that. And also with the chapters, there's sections, or depending on where you're from, they call them academies, and they focus on special interest topics, such as patient populations, to policy areas and to practice areas. Some benefits are scientific journals, and they hold conferences and courses for your needs. I decided to look into the Texas chapter, which is the Texas Physical Therapy Association. It started out with 11 members. 4 of those members were from Dallas. They were the ones that petitioned for Texas to have its own chapter. The first meeting was held in May 21st of 1930. Their mission is to advance physical therapist practice, to optimize the movement, health, and wellness of people in Texas. Their vision is life empowered through optimal movement. The section I decided to look into was a sports academy. It's the American Academy of Sports and Physical Therapy. They'll be celebrating 50 years in 2023. Their mission is to define the specialty, build on members' knowledge and skills and abilities, and impact the lives of countless athletes at every state level. So there's a ton of sections. You would just choose the section that you're most interested in. So it's like a breakdown. You have your chapters, your sections for people that are interested in pediatrics, geriatrics, oncology, sports, and then they meet together, bring up issues, and then that also helps advance physical therapy as well. And that's it.
Very good. Yes, very good. Very good, Latanya. Very good info. Yeah, and our chapter that we have here around Houston is called the Southeastern District chapter. And y'all will actually, and y'all probably have heard of this. Y'all have to go to 2 of those meetings. 2 meetings by the time you graduate. So, and they're always held they're either held at the United Way building here in Houston, or now they're holding them online. So you'll just be able to watch them online. Yeah. So, and they always have like a 1 hour educational topic. And if you're a therapist, if you're licensed, you get an hour CEU credit for it. Y'all as a student wouldn't get credit, but there's a lots of students from all the schools around Houston that go to the meetings, every meeting. So y'all would get to meet other students from other schools, and then network with other clinics and stuff. But then you just get to learn the topics too that they're talking about, some new things. So, okay. Who is next? I think Jalen is next. Yes, Jalen.
Hi, my name is Jalen, and my topic was PTA employment forecast. And I researched the APTA website a lot, and it had very little to zero information on employment forecast, but it did have a lot of other resources. So all of my information is coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics website.
That's good.
All right. The growing demand for physical therapy kind of spurred the creation of the PTA profession. It started in 1967, and this year it turns 53 years old. So that's kind of cool. Physical therapy has been around twice as long. It's 100 years old, so I thought that was kind of neat. Physical therapy is one of the fastest growing professions in the country. And in 2019, there were 149,000 people employed as a PTA. So that's a lot around the country. Physical therapy, it's growing in population despite the need for physical therapy, like physically on the population. It's just a popular field to go into. People really like it. It's kind of medical field adjacent. The job outlook is projected to grow 33% in the next 10 years. So that's from 2019 to 2029, 33%. That's much faster than the average occupation rate around the country. So that is a big reason why people get into it. A big demand coming up for physical therapy is because of the aging population, more specifically the baby boomers. They're getting older. Yeah, they're coming into their golden years, so it's really about to vamp up. It's also because it's such a popular field, one of the most popular reasons people get into it is because of that. It's in the relative education, for PTA you only need 2 years, for PT you only need 6 years. As everyone knows, PTAs, they rely on PTs rely on PTAs and environment, so the demand is kind of the same. As long as the PTA is needed, a PTA is going to be there, right there, because the demand is equal. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys.
Yep. Very good. Good. That was good. Okay. All right, Jalen. So y'all found a good profession. Job outlook is good. Jalen was there. Okay, Guillermo.
I
I
signed up,
think
but
no,
okay.
you weren't next. You
I mean,
asked
I
me a
don't mind. I
question.
don't mind going in next.
Okay, go ahead and go. Sorry, guys, I got out of order. Jacob will be next.
All right. All right. Is it possible for me to share a screen? I kind of did a little small PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go for it. I think I can let you do that. Try to do it.
All right. Can y'all see it?
I can see it.
Yes.
All right. All right, guys. So my topic was student assembly, and I got all my information from the APTA website. And I guess before I start, how many of y'all are signed up for the APTA? I guess just by a show of hands. Oh, I could see Alexandra. So basically, if you're signed up to the APTA, you're pretty much signed up to the student assembly, you know? Basically, the student assemblies, you know, is anyone, like I said, anyone that's trying to pursue a career in PT or PTA and it's enrolled with the APTA. The student assembly is also represented by a board of directors, which I will get into in a bit. And also the student assembly contains, like, I guess you could say, like, groups in order to like promote like PTs or PTAs, like their involvement with the APTA association. And moving forward, this is our current president for the student assembly, Hannah Cook, or Cook, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. Our vice president, Sydney. Secretary, Nanami Mano. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, so I'm sorry. Director of Membership, James Anderson. Director of Communications, Lindsay Duran. Director of SPTA Relations, Kevin Hazel. Student PT Delegate, Chase Kuhn. Nominated Committee Chair, Gustavo Martinez. And Nominated Committee Chair, elect Atoya Akinboboye. And Nominating Committee Chair, Patrick Soiji. And basically now I guess I can move on to the Student Assembly Program. So core ambassadors are pretty much members that serve as a connection between the state and the APTA program. So pretty much each state in the United States gets one representative, I guess you could say, to represent the whole state in the APTA. Pretty much what the core ambassadors do is that they're responsible for, you know, making strategies to get students engaged and provide opportunities for them to like increase involvement in like the field, you know, or also with the APTA association. Student assembly, if I'm correct, I think it's liaisons. It's pretty much just members of the APT who volunteer to represent the board. They help forge connections with the organizations of the APT structure out, like inside the APT program and outside the physical therapy program. And usually the board does appoint them. All right, project committees. They're established by the board to advance, you know, students' initiatives, you know, to support the board pretty much. When they do the project, each project is usually includes 1 or 2 chairs and like 5 to 7 members who are appointed also through like a little application process that they have to follow through. And our student special interest groups, it's just pretty much just to like a freebie group, I guess. The board doesn't really manage that. But it is, you know, like for students, I guess, to like engage a bit more into it, so like they could, it's like its own group, not managed by the board, but like it's like something free that you could do. And anyone who was wondering who was our Texas Core ambassador, it's Rosalind Antayobi. And that's it. I'm not sure how to stop the sharing. Okay.
Dr. Allen, you're muted.
Sorry, I was talking to you the whole time. Yeah, no idea what I was saying. Thank you for that. I think Alexandra wrote her name next. So is Alex ready?
It's Lexi, but yeah, I'm ready.
Lexi, that's right. You go by Lexi. I forgot.
So my topic was reimbursement for student services under Medicare Part B. So basically all it's saying is only the service the therapist provides can be billed and paid under Medicare Part B. Services provided by the student may not be billed even if under direct supervision. However, the student can watch and participate in the treatment and the service can still be billed. This includes group services. PTs must always comply with the Medicare regulations. Therapists can bill and be paid for the following. The practitioner is there in the room and directing for the entire session. The student can participate in the delivery of the service when the PT is directing the service. The PT is directing the service, making the skilled judgment, and is responsible for the assessment of the treatment. The assessment and treatment. The student can still be hands-on as long as they are supervised 100% of the time. The PT is present in the room guiding the student in the service delivery and not doing any other tasks or working with any other patients. The PT is responsible for signing all documentation. And that's all I have.
Okay. Good. Okay. Very good, Lexi. Okay, Lexi went. Now, Jacob. Jacob, are you ready?
Yes, my topic is over the mission of the APTA. So the APTA's official mission statement is building a community that advances the profession of physical therapy to improve the health of society. This mission statement gives a general overview of the APTA's goals. The ways in which these goals are accomplished break down into what's called the strategic plan. This plan is created by the board of directors to cover key focus areas. These key focus areas are not the totality of the plan, but are the major priorities. The plan involves two major areas. One is advocating for pro-PT policies and expanding access to PT. This portion is mainly done through lobbying and support of government legislation. The second area is elevating the level of care given by PTs and PTAs, as well as increasing APTA membership value. These are all core priorities that encompass the mission of the APTA as a whole. And all this information is from apta.org.
All right. Very good. Okay. And let's see. That was Jen. And next we've got, remind me how to say, is it Chabeli? Chabeli? Say it again. Chabeli, sorry. You're up.
Okay, so my topic was the PT publications and I got it from the APTA.org. So the APTA stands for American Physical Therapy Association. APTA uses this term and its documents and publications to form a common understanding. When the APTA refers to external, they are referring to the provision of physical therapy services. Another form of publications would have to be the reference numbers. They're usually used with HOD, which stands for House of Delegates. When using a reference number, the format is usually written as HOD first, and then the month, year, page, and vote format. Sometimes they may even include their positions in front of the month. When it comes to publications, there are different ways to refer to physical therapists. For example, when it comes to a professional title, physical therapists can be identified either as a doctor of physical therapy or a physical therapist. as well as when it comes to a job, they can refer to services where the service is provided. Meanwhile, if the physical therapy practice, they refer to provision of physical therapists. Lastly, publications can also have its negative sides, such as having to keep up with scammers. According to the American Medical Association report in 2017, there was around 83% of physicians that said they had experienced some of the cyber attack. That's why to reduce the number of cyber attacks, they put featured in physical therapy magazines that describe common cyber crimes and scams. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. That was Chadney. And next we have Maria.
Yes. So I'll be discussing the Outstanding PTA Award. Basically, the Outstanding PTA Award recognizes a PTA who for a minimum of 5 years has provided clinical services. It honors the PTA's achievement in areas of patient care, community service, and commitment towards the association. To be eligible, the eligibility requirements are the PTA has to have been providing clinical services for at least 5 years under a licensed PT, and they themselves have to be either licensed or regulated. And lastly, they have to have experience in working in more than one practice or educational setting. The outstanding achievements in delivery of patient care, service to the community, and commitment to the physical therapy profession and association as a whole. You can do that, you can demonstrate that in some ways. Some of the ways is as a PTA to demonstrate that is your contribution to the former affiliate or the national assemblies like the PTA advisory panel, the PTA caucus, the APTA themselves in both national level or district. Also, you have to service through the community through activities that basically build quality of life and function. Also, a way that you could do that is a PTA also has to, there has to be a promotion of like your education, whether it's through your practice, your research that you do, or the services that you provide. They want to see like a career development from you, basically. You could take some courses, some workshops, your services that you provide. They want to see that. And also you have to, have ethical standards and professional conduct, obviously. And just be a all around role model for not just your peers, but your patients, your students as well, so that they can also reach their potential. The PTA the recipient will receive an award presented by the APTA Board of Directors at an APTA national event, along with an official announcement in the association's publication. And to submit all this, if you want to do this, there's some things you have to submit. That will be your current curriculum or resume, a letter of nomination that focuses on your strengths in relation to the award. It cannot be more than 3 pages. And lastly, 2 letters of support from individuals who can address one or more criteria that I explained previously. And that can be no more than 2 pages. And I got all of this information from the APTA website. And if you want to nominate yourself, or you have to submit it via awards portal. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, Candace.
Hey guys. So my topic was the demographic profile of PTA members. And I had got this information from the APTA website, and on there only found the results for the 2016 through 2017 year. So during that year, the APTA conducted a survey which asked questions about the person's race, sex, age range, highest earned academic degree, years working since graduation, employment status, and employment facility questions to the people. So they sent the surveys out, and they only received 1,083 responses. So based on those results, for the race, there was 3.2% Asian, 1.8% was African American, 88.5% was Caucasian, and 3.1% was Hispanic. For that year, for gender, there was more females than males. For females, it was 78.3%, and for the male, it was 21.7%. For the age range, it ranges from 20 years old to 65 years old and older. So between the ages 25 through 29, there was 14%. 35 through 39 was 11.8%. And for between the ages 50 through 54, there was 13.2%. And then the number of years working since graduating from a PTA program, 0 to 3 years was 39.2%. For the 6 years was 12.5%, and 16 through 20 years was 16%. And then for the highest earned degree for that year, to have an associate's, the percentage was 47.7. And then also for a bachelor's, there was 41.8%. And to have a master's, it was 9.9%. And then also for the surveyors who was employed during that time, 25.8% was full-time salaried. And then 46.6% was full-time hourly, and 16.6% was part-time hourly. And for last but not least, let's see, for the employment setting, for an acute care hospital, 8.2% surveyors have worked there, and 16.9% surveyors have worked in a hospital-based outpatient facility, and 31.7% surveyors worked in a private outpatient office or group practice. And that is it.
Okay, very good. All right, that gives you all a little bit about the people that are in our profession. Okay, good, Candace. Karina, you're up.
Hey everyone, so I had the National APTA conferences, and I found all of this information on the apta.org website. So the APTA has amazing opportunities for networking. And so 3 examples of those APTA national conferences are the National Student Conclave, the Combined Sections Meeting, and the Next Conference and Exposition. So the National Student Conclave is the conference for students to attend. It is made up of thousands of PT and PTA students attending schools from all over the nation, meeting up in one place to learn about their future opportunities in the profession of physical therapy. This conference offers many inspirational speakers, sessions for students that allows them to learn necessary tips to get through PTA or PT school, as well as how to do well when you enter the profession as a new graduate. And another example would be the Combined Sections Meeting. So this conference is one of the largest conferences in the country, and it brings together thousands of therapists from all over the country from the APTA, as well as members from the APTA's 18 specialty sections, such as pediatrics and neurology. This national meeting presents a series of panels and informationals that address ways on how to advance in your physical therapy career and education. And the last example would be the Next Conference and Exposition. This conference welcomes PTs, PTAs, as well as students. And this conference is all about innovation and the future of physical therapy. And it does feature a vast amount of speakers who present on topics such as emerging new practices, technology, innovative clinical education, leadership development, pain management. And the speakers do this by hosting several meetings throughout the conference, as well as presenting like case studies to audiences. And overall, the UC conferences definitely changed because of COVID, of course. And some amazing things that happened throughout these conferences this year was that the National Student Conclave virtual conference actually broke the highest attendance record from the previous years. Additionally, the combined sections meeting that is taking place virtually in 2021 from February 1st to the 28th will continue to have online information sessions hosted by special guests and live online programs. And then the next conference this year still remained as an innovative and unique conference that displayed the future of the profession. And also they did feature cheaper prices, which made it more affordable for everyone. And it was more convenient for everyone to attend as well, since everyone was in the comfort of their own homes. And yeah, that's all I got for the conferences.
Cool. All right, very good. Okay, Caitlin, you're up.
I did mine on PT and student advocacy.
Okay.
And I got my information from the APTA website and another website, Covalent Careers. And so advocacy is important because it's promoting the progress of the PT and showing what the profession has to offer. It promotes a sense of community, and we're encouraged to use our voices to ensure that we're being represented appropriately amongst government officials. And so the need for care from PTs and PTAs is rising, and an issue is that the education costs are high, but APTA supports legislation, which is called the Physical Therapist Workforce and Patient Access Act. And it allows PTs and PTAs to access federal student loan debt forgiveness to help pursue a career in physical therapy. And there is a student advocacy challenge that took place this year, and it takes place, I guess, every year, but you can participate in it by documenting your experiences and documenting the different ways that you are advocating and submitting your records to the Congressional Affairs Department. And you're scored on these ways that you're advocating, and then it's announced who scored the highest at the National Student Conclave. And the different ways that students can advocate is by joining the APTA and also SSIGS, the Student Special Interest Groups. And that is an organization that helps physical therapy students become more involved. And it's a great resource for this profession. And that is all I have on that topic.
Good. Yeah, y'all, advocacy is really big in our profession and really important. So y'all there's gonna be a lot of times when we're gonna be sending y'all emails and announcements saying, like, click this link to send an email to your congressman or to your senator about this PT related subject. So we're always having to advocate for ourselves in legislation about different things. It's the biggest thing that came out. We had to legislate and lobby for a long time about getting direct access for states, and even Texas is still fighting that a big time. So it's really important. Yeah. Okay. Very good, Caitlin. Who's next? Okay. You're next. Is it
Yes,
Antaria?
Antaria, yes.
Antaria. Okay. I got it.
I'm
Okay.
outside because I have a lot of family here and it's really loud. So,
That's
okay.
fine. Different
All right.
different background. We got a different background now. That's good to see.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today, my topic is going to be evidence-based practice. So I set mine up kind of as like I was talking, so just bear with me. Okay. So what is the APTA? The APTA is the American Physical Therapy Association. It's a very resourceful organization that shares research as well as important information related to the physical therapy field. So now, what is evidence-based practice? Evidence-based practice, also known as EBP, because like Dr. Allen said, we like to use abbreviations, so EBP, is applying or translating research findings, and our daily patient care practices and clinical decision making. Evidence-based practice derives from the term evidence-based medicine, which was introduced by Gordon Gaia in 1991, who was a doctor. His goal was to switch clinical decision making from clinical experience and rationale to scientific research instead. So this idea was further progressed by a Canadian doctor named D.L. Sackett in 1996. He made it clear that evidence-based clinical practice was research evidence as well as clinical expertise. From there, evidence-based practice research has become a part of everyday use in the medical field. As stated before, evidence primarily based off of research, but also falls into 4 other categories. Randomized control trials, gathered from cohorts, evidence gathered from cohorts in a case control analysis or observational study. So we could, conduct some evidence-based practice of our own. Opinions from clinical experts supported by experiences, studies, or reports, or personal experience. So when I do research, I like to do a who, what, when, where, how, kind of, so you can kind of get cover all bases. So I went to see who mostly uses EBP, and nurses were the top, people who use it in the medical field. So nurses are known to heavily use EBP to make critical decisions for patient care. There are constantly new updates to medical protocols for patient care. To give the best care, they must always be aware of current practices. So with this evidence-based practice, it's nice because we have evidence-based practice from multiple years ago to now, this month, it's something new that's come out for almost about any topic. So that's where APTA comes in. You go on the website and look up some evidence-based practice on whatever you're dealing with the patient, and you can use it, to help your patient feel better. So you may ask, what is the difference between research and evidence-based practice? They are very much similar, but a little different. Research is new knowledge or existing knowledge based on a theory. Evidence-based practice is the best available evidence to make the best decision for the patient. The best available option varies with each patient, because what's good for this patient might not be good for the next patient. So you have to use it for what's best for your patient. So while conducting this presentation, I found out that there are evidence-based practice models. An evidence-based practice model is a guideline of steps that healthcare workers use to understand, create, and implement evidence-based practice in their areas of work. Each model must fit the healthcare member's approach and most of all comply with the patient's needs. There are 5 main steps in each model. Ask and identify a clinical problem, attain, review relevant literature, appraise, critically appraise evidence, apply, evaluate the need for practice and potential implement, and assess, evaluate outcomes. As I was doing my research, some models have more steps, so they may have 6 or 7 steps. Like I know it was a Johns Hopkins model, and they had 7 steps. So it's just based on you or your cohort or whoever you're working with, how many steps you have. So in the end, the main goal of evidence-based practice and the model is to find the best way to make decisions for your patients. I hope you all can take something from my presentation today, and thank you.
Very good. Yes, evidence-based practice is very important. You should always base your patient decisions on scientific evidence. We'll learn that a lot more later on in the semester. Okay, Maritza.
Good morning, everyone. My topic for today is the PTPAC, and I got all my information from the APTA website. So what is PTPAC? It stands for Physical Therapy Political Action Committee for the American Physical Therapy Association, or APTA. And I quote this from the website: PTPAC is the sole fundraising organization that provides access to and influence of legislators to champion PT legislative interests at the federal level. So what this committee was created to do is to give the physical therapy profession the ability to create strong bonds and relationships with legislative members. So the goal of the committee is to organize fundraisers and raise money in order to help political candidates that include federal candidates, leadership political action committees, and national political parties committees. The candidates that the committee will be supporting are those who could be advocates at the federal level towards the physical therapy profession. And the PAC makes the decisions on who to donate based on thorough research, and they support Republican as well as Democratic candidates. In 2018, the contributions for the PACs included supporting 34 Senate races, which 16 of those candidates for election won, and of the 435 House races supported 232 candidates who won, plus 25 newly elected representatives to Congress. The committee is really made possible by APTA members who volunteer to organize fundraisers. We know that in order to be a member of APTA, you must pay a fee. Well, contrary to what some individuals may believe, several laws prohibit the committee to use the fees that APTA collects. So they have to make these fundraisers possible. The PTPAC has several impacts in our profession. So they try to push for laws and benefits of the physical therapy profession and patients. It's believed that in January 2021, Medicare will start making cuts on payment for physical therapy services. So not only does this affect our profession, it also affects the access that patients are going to have for medical care. So with that being said, without patients, then we will not have a job by the time that we graduate. And that's where the relationships with Congress come into play, because without their support, the Medicare cut will go into place starting in January 1st, 2021. Also, since the start of COVID-19, a lot of practices, including the physical therapy practice, has been using telehealth in order to keep contact with their patients while being safe. So as soon as the public health emergency ends, the physical therapists and physical therapist assistants will not be able to bill these services under Medicare. So APTA and the PTPAC are trying to push for this to be a permanent therapy policy. I really had no idea what PTPAC was, but now I believe that it's a great organization because it ultimately can make a difference in our patients and our profession. So I encourage us all to try to get more involved with these laws and policies and try to get more involved with the PTPAC.
Very good. Yes, I agree with you. Okay, good. Okay, next we have Natalie.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So I had the PTA caucus. Am I saying that correct? So the purpose, can you hear me?
You're breaking up.
Are you guys hearing me?
You're breaking up pretty bad for me.
Okay, let me see. Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Not much better. How about
no?
How about we skip you and come back to you?
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, you're breaking up and skipping really bad and freezing, so. Okay, we'll come back to you, Natalie. I'm sorry. Okay, Bryant.
Don't worry.
Okay, so I'm going to be discussing direct access and why it is important. I did a lot of research on the APTA website, and there's a lot of research advocating for this topic. And direct access is the removal of a physician referral.
Hey. I'm at the post office, but he's still asleep. Okay.
Hold on, Brian. And Tara, can you mute yourself?
Oh, well, he's scared.
And Tara,
oh, I'm sorry.
Can you mute yourself?
Sorry, y'all.
Okay,
All
Brian.
Right, so direct access is the removal of the physician referral in order to see a physical therapist for an eval and treatment. So basically, this is a self-referral. So anyone has the ability to see a PT without being referred by their doctor or like physician This means anyone with a condition that may benefit from physical therapy can choose a physical therapist of their choice, schedule an eval with them, and come in for weekly visits. In Texas, direct access is fairly new. It was just passed in 2019, and all states allow some form of direct access. However, in Texas, patients can only see a PT for up to 10 days until a referral is needed, versus I think there's 27 states where you don't have to get a referral. Why is this important? It takes one person out of the chain to see a physical therapist. By doing so, you make it a lot more convenient and effective in some cases. Physical therapists, as we know, are trained professionals who know how to treat and test for injuries that require rehab, just like your primary doctor or a physician can do. This is convenient because it costs a lot less, takes out the physician visit, which some people have to pay for. And it's also a lot less time consuming. I know a lot of people that notice a change in their body, you'll kind of ride it out for a few days. And maybe if it doesn't get better after a week, then you'll go see your doctor. Studies show, for example, that low back pain, if you treat it within 2 weeks, it is a lot more effective than waiting a little bit longer. And then this also leads to better quality care. People are encouraged to do more research on who they want to go to. And that's all I have.
Good, very good. Okay, next is Wachi.
All right, class. Good afternoon. The topic I will be speaking on is the PTA Advanced Proficiency Pathways Program. So, and I found my information on apta.org. So, a general overview, APTA's PTA Advanced Proficiency Program, Pathways Program is a program used for increasing a PTA's knowledge and skill in the area of physical therapy that they have chosen. So PTAs gain advanced proficiency, knowledge, and skill in one of the 7 areas, and they are acute care, cardiovascular/pulmonary, geriatrics, oncology, orthopedics, pediatric, and wound management. So once you have graduated from the program, your Advanced Proficiency Pathways program recognition is only good for 10 years. So now moving on to fees, there are fees you have to pay when joining the program. Your enrollment fee is $135. Your final portfolio review fee is $135 as well. And the only fee that will change is the cost of continuing education, which varies per participant. So in terms of eligibility, in order to participate in the program, you must be an APTA member and a licensed PTA. It is not one or the other. You must have both recognitions under your belt before deeming yourself eligible for the program. And there are 3 prerequisites that you need to complete prior to enrollment in the program. And you can complete these 3 prerequisites in the APTA Learning Center. And these 3 prerequisites are: 1, the APTA Code of Ethics for Physical Therapists and Standards of Ethical Conduct for Physical Therapist Assistants; 2, leading the team, a practical guide to working with PTAs. And the last prerequisite is professionalism, module 1, introduction to professionalism. So for enrollment applications are accepted on a first come, first served basis. So the earlier you get your application in, the sooner they'll get to you. And the requirements needed for online enrollment will include submission/verification of your current contact information and your PTA license, name and contact information of a self-designated supervising physical therapist and self-designated clinical mentor, and completion of the 3 prerequisites that I've just mentioned earlier. So enrollment applications will not be processed until all the required information has been received. And once they have been received, give it up to 4 to 6 weeks for review. So moving on to the selections of your mentors, your supervising physical therapist must be someone who helps or who agrees to help the applicant as they go through the PTA Advanced Proficiency Pathways program. This person may be asked to provide professional, personal, and mentoring support to the applicant. This person will always present the applicant with any opportunity given to further the development in their given pathway. And then moving on to the clinical mentor. The clinical mentor is also a physical therapist who has knowledge in the content area and has accepted responsibility for teaching and guiding the PTA as they go through the curriculum. So this person will be able to provide feedback and information until the PTA is good to do their own interventions and behaviors on their own. So participants in this program are required and responsible for recruiting their own clinical mentor. And your clinical mentor can also be the same as your supervising physical therapist, as long as your supervising physical therapist has the knowledge and skill to be a clinical mentor. If they don't, then you must find two separate physical therapists for these two positions. So there's post-enrollment requirements, and once program, you have up to 5 years to complete the following program requirements. And this is 1, submission of evidence of 60 contact hours of continuing education coursework within the given pathway. 2, completion of medical clinical experiences. And 3, documentation of 2,000 clinical hours of work experience within the selected content area. So this is the PTA Advanced Proficiency Pathways. And if it's something you are looking into, I advise you to take full advantage of it. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. All right, let's go back to Natalie. And guys, I just counted. We still got like 9 or 10 people to go, and class ends in 20 minutes. So if y'all can try to paraphrase a little bit and talk faster. I won't take off any points for if you paraphrase or anything. And guys, if it gets 12:30 and we still have you to go, I can't keep you and I won't take off if you leave class, but I'll stay here to let everybody get a chance to go so they can go, so we can get it on the video. But if you have to go, then I can't keep you after 12:30. Okay. All right, Natalie, you're up.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're a lot clearer now.
Okay, so let me put my volume up. I had the PTA caucus. So I was not able to find a lot of information, but the information that I found it on the APTA website. The purpose of the Physical Therapy Assistant Caucus is to represent the interest of the PTA members, to provide recommendations and input related to the PTA issues. So they provide the information to the delegates, the House, and the board. So the caucus is composed of the chief delegate, which it served for 3 years. We currently have David Harris. Then it has 4 delegates at large. They also serve 3 years. And we have Sean, Brenda, Jody, and Krissa. It's composed of 1 alternate delegate, which we have Megan Thibodeau, and she served for 1 year. And then at last, it's composed of 52 PTA representatives. And they're the ones in charge of electing the chief, the delegate at large, and the alternate delegates. Each representative is from a different chapter. And the representatives are voting members. While on the other hand, the PTA delegates to the House are non-voting members. So they're the ones that speak and make motions. The caucus meets immediately prior to the House, and the House meets annually to make decision on issues that have far-reaching implication for the association and the professional physical therapy. And that's it.
All right, very good. It was still very good. Okay, very good. Chris is up.
My topic is finding legislation laws on the APTA website. Obviously, my resources all came from the APTA website. And it's important to know the happenings of your job and following the laws and legislations that could affect you. Physical therapists and physical therapy assistants all face different kinds of legislation at the federal and state level. A couple of these we'll go over, but first, if you want to find out more, I suggest that you go to the APTA website, you go to news and updates, and under there, you'll go to the advocacy issues. Under all of those advocacy issues, you can find all of the legislation that we currently face. A couple of these legislative issues that stuck out to me were the education and workforce legislations. Basically, care from physical therapists and physical therapy assistants are deemed as essential, and they're currently climbing. But physical therapy itself is excluded from most programs that would provide student loan debt relief or assistance in the cost of education. Basically, this would just prevent people from wanting to become physical therapy assistants or physical therapists. We also have direct access. Direct access basically allows patients to come see us without having to get a referral. But right now, a lot of states, including Texas, have limitations on these services. Texas is 10 to 15 days being seen. Having direct access allows patients to take care of their own healthcare costs, as well as making their healthcare more accessible. We also face a 9% cut next year. Basically, this 9% cut would affect us in all hospital settings, and it could see a cut in our wages, a cut in patient intake, or a reduction in staff overall. And on top of that 9% cut, there is a 15% PTA cut that might go into effect in 2022. We also have fair copay laws. Only 7 states currently have a fair copay law. Patients need to see therapists many times throughout their treatment. And every time they see a therapist, they have to pay out of pocket, or up to $60 to $350. Right now, a lot of patients are opting to not see physical therapists at all, or physical therapy assistants. Or maybe you might not even be able to see your patient as frequently as needed throughout the treatment. And then that is it.
Okay, good. All right. Do you go by Chris or Christopher? So I know.
Either is fine. Christopher is preferable.
Okay, Christopher. All right, Cody, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Well, my topic was the standards of ethical conduct for a physical therapist assistant. I got it off the website of APTA. The first one is that we must represent ourselves in a respectful manner when it comes to our patients and clients. That basically means do not discriminate against them whatsoever. We need to be trustworthy and compassionate. We need to put the best interest of our patients first. We need to develop plans for our patients regarding anything specific, like if they can't do certain things because of their culture, anything like that. We need to keep their medical confidential records confidential. The only time we will release those is when required by law. We need to make sound, educated decisions based on our knowledge. We cannot be biased with those decisions. And if their plans need adjusting, we need to communicate that with our physical therapist. We need to be respectful and truthful to our fellow healthcare workers. We have to provide accurate information when giving files to their patients. And we cannot exploit anyone under our supervision, like any students observing us or anything. We cannot engage in any sexual conduct whatsoever when it comes to our coworkers, supervisors, or patients. And we also must discourage misconduct from our supervisors or PTs. And we must report that as well. We need to fulfill our ethical and legal obligation. Basically what that means is that we must follow the law, encourage fellow colleagues who are having trouble to seek counsel. And if we see them having deep trouble, we need to report that right away. And the other one is that we must enhance our knowledge. The PTA role is ever changing. We're given more responsibilities every year. So it's good to educate ourselves for that, especially when we're getting relicensed. And we need to promote work environments that support responsibilities for their actions. And we need to support organizations that put the needs of others first, especially ones that cannot afford physical therapy. And we need to educate the public as well, the benefits of physical therapy. So all in all, I believe PTAs need to be accountable, trustworthy, and they need to work well with others.
Very good. And y'all will hear those standards of ethical conduct again one day, I promise you. Okay, Kelledy, you're up.
All right. Can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. I did mine on the APTA House of Delegates and Board of Directors. Got all my information off the APTA website. Both the House of Delegates and the Board of Directors are kind of who adopt and amend the APTA bylaws, positions, standards, guidelines, all of that stuff. And they do it through a parliamentary process. So kind of people can be like, I nominate them or things like that, and they get boosted up. The House of the APTA's delegates, the House of Delegates, they're the policymaking body. They have the voting chapter and all of that. But the non-voting delegates, from what the website said, was the Board of Directors and section, which was kind of a surprise to me. I thought they would all vote together. But in the Board of Directors, they pretty much get appointed through nomination, the election process, which they assume office. And I mean, they're just over everything on the board, and they're kind of who you could go through with the House of Delegates as well. Like I said, they're pretty much the people who are in charge of everything, which I thought it would be the other way around, which was surprising to me. But currently, they are the ones that kind of handle anything that's brought up to them about the bylaws, policies, all of that. And they kind of vote on it and everything, but they only do it in years that end in a 0 and a 5. And everything else that gets brought up to them has to be a 2/3 vote from the delegates if it needs to be brought up right then, or if it needs to wait until a year that ends in a 0 or a 5. And that's kind of everything I found on them.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And that was Kelledy. So now we have Jarrett.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jarrett. My topic is PTA Education Program Demographics. I got my research from the apta.org website, as well as the library database ProQuest. So to start off, be talking about the importance of PTA in the education program. And everybody know education has the ability to teach us quality learning with and through different types of people, age groups, religion, and having physical therapy involved in education, as well as being taught in schools. It's essential for learning the basic units of points of your human body, and as well as also how it works. Just for personal experience at my school, we didn't have any physical therapy teachers working with the disability students. It was just a regular teacher that just worked with them as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting that some schools have actual physical therapy teachers that work with their students. From an article that I read, Decision Making for Physical Therapy Service Delivery in Schools. In the article, they explain how some of the basic learnings that are being taught through school education and how they have been developed to the new techniques to PT life, as well as in the medical setting. They said the therapist provides direct one-to-one services, and in a school setting, you have more ability to involve with your peers, your teachers, different equipment, and different activities. After that, it was just saying that you should try to look at both perspectives of schools with physical therapy involved in education and see how that correlates to schools without involvement in physical therapy. And that's about it. PT and education.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Sometimes I think working in a school with kids would be kind of fun, but I've never done it before. Okay. Let me see. We're almost done, guys. We only got a few people left. Where's my list? Jarrett just went, and then there is Valerie.
Alrighty.
Okay, y'all can hear me, right? Okay, just making sure. All right, well, my name is Valerie Thomas. I'm gonna be talking about the PTA student resources that are found on the APTA website. So a lot of things I found there, if I were to go through everything, we'll be here all day. So I kind of found ones that resonated mainly with us and where we are right now. So one of the resources I found was that the APTA has like a YouTube channel. And I think where we are right now, globally, being this pandemic and everything, it's good to stay up to date on news. And everything is online at the moment. So it was really cool to see videos about entrepreneurship and basically like side hustles that some PTAs and PTs get into when they do get into their profession. And it's never too early to think about more ways to make some money. Also, another thing I found out was that they had a recent diversity gala. And with PT being a very diverse field, I felt like that was really cool that they highlighted the different backgrounds of the members that they have in their, association. And they basically had like a keynote speaker, and they had current and past minority scholarship fund winners speak at the panel. So I felt like that was really cool that they highlighted the fact that PT is a very diverse field, and it's only going to get more diverse. Another thing that I found out through one of the videos, I think Christopher and Anteria both mentioned it, was that the CMS, which is the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, is going to be cutting the PT services by 9%. Something that they didn't mention was how it would affect us right now. Of course, it's going to affect us when we become PTAs, but also since we are required to do clinicals, that could definitely kind of affect the way that clinicals are kind of set up. If clinics are not getting enough funding, they're going to have to start releasing unbillable hours, and they don't get paid to supervise us during clinicals. So that's definitely something that could change, and we have to be looking forward to that. So and it's never too early to dip into advocacy and talk to your and write letters to government and things like that that were previously mentioned. Another thing that I found as a resource was their financial management. They have scholarship opportunities and awards for students. They have a lot of financial strategies, and they actually give you a certified financial planner professional, and that's through the Certified Financial Planner Board of Standards database. They kind of pair you with somebody, and I feel like that's really cool that they actually have a database specifically for financial strategies and like money management, because being in school, we have loans, we have grants, and it's not cheap. So any way to find out how to kind of reduce that, or just be a little bit more mindful of how to, was really cool. They also have student loan refinancing. And basically what that is, when a private lender pays off your existing loans, and gives you a new loan with new terms, and it could cost nothing to refinance your student loan. So basically over time you're gonna be saving money. And I felt that's really cool, because it's good to know that APTA as a whole is kind of looking out for their members. And obviously PTA, PT schools are not cheap. So any way to kind of reduce that cost, and they do give discounts as well. Another thing I found out that really resonated with me was their volunteer opportunities, and knowing that we do have required volunteer opportunities. I saw that they had a APTA Engage, which is basically kind of their own like portal for go-to volunteer opportunities. You basically make a profile, and you're able to be notified of new volunteer opportunities in your area and your interests based on your profile. They also have volunteer groups appointed by the APTA Board of Directors, and they basically seek out volunteers throughout the year. And then lastly, something that I found out, or another resource, was the APTA article search. So they basically have their own database called PT Now, and it provides APTA members with full access to research and articles through the EBSCO Discovery Service. And they have just about over 4,500 clinical and academic publications. And I feel like right now, a lot of us are in communications, and we're gonna be doing a research assignment soon. So I feel like that's a good way or a good resource to use, during this time. So yeah, and that was it.
All right, very good, very thorough. Okay, guys, we're just about done. Few more to go. So we're gonna go a little past 12:30. So I can't force you to stay, but if you've already went, and then you want to go, you can go. I'm going to keep recording, but I do need to try to give everybody the chance to go if they want to go. Okay, so we won't ever go at late other days. I'm sorry about this, but this will be the only day. Okay, just a few left. Otavia, you're next.
Okay, hey everybody, can y'all hear me? Okay, so I had the TPTA and SED. So I probably should have went after LaTanya because she did touch on a lot of my points. So this is a refresher for most of y'all since you already heard this. So TPTA stands for Texas Physical Therapy Association. A brief history about it is that as physical therapists came to Texas, at the time there were about 11 members, and 4 of those members lived in Dallas. And those Dallas members petitioned for a Texas chapter, and their first meeting was May 21st, 1930. So the current vision that they have is that life empowered through optimal movement. Their current mission is that the Texas PTA advances physical therapist practice to optimize movement, health, and wellness of people in Texas. Their current goals are to empower society, and that means society will recognize physical therapists as experts in movement and wellness. They also want to empower the association. The TPTA will be dynamic and relevant organization through membership engagement and meaningful communication. They also want to empower the profession. So PT will obtain patient access and equitable payment for physical therapy services. And then I also had SED, which is one of the districts in Texas, which stands for Southeastern District. And its location covers the Houston and Galveston area. And they hold meetings throughout the year to support the physical therapy profession, and provide continued competency courses, and to network. And I found all this information on the tpta.org.
Very good. Yes, y'all will hear more about SED coming up. Okay, I'm trying to go in the order people were telling me in the private chat that y'all can't see. So I think we got Sabrina next. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Okay, so my name is Sabrina, and I got my information also from the APTA website. I had the Mary McMillan Scholarship Award. So I'm going to try to go really fast since we're over time. But basically, it's a scholarship award that is presented to students who are within 12 months of completing all the requirements for graduation. And like any other scholarship, there's certain eligibility requirements and submission requirements. And you can, the only way to obtain this scholarship is through being nominated through the accredited institution, and it has to be accredited by the CAPTE association. And so this scholarship is obviously awarded to either PTA or physical therapist students. So like I said, they have to be, or the nominees have to be within 12 months of completing all requirements for graduation from the entry-level program when the nomination process for the honors and awards programs opens, which is September 1st. That's for PT, and then for PTA, the student nominees must be enrolled in the final year of study, and for the programs that are only part-time, all nominees must be in the final year of curriculum for that specific institution. And the minimum number of credit hours required for final year status is dependent on each school. So based on everything that's been mentioned, all nominees must be in the final year to be nominated. And each institution is limited to one physical therapy assistant education student, and then one physical therapist student. So to be, I mean, it's a very competitive scholarship. So like all the schools are hard to get into, it's just the same thing, very competitive. And so they look at a combination of the following criteria: superior scholastic performance, past productivity, evidence of potential contribution to physical therapy, and service to the APTA association. So if you're a physical therapist student, you get awarded $5,000, and if you're a PTA, you get awarded $3,000. The money, or the monetary donation, award is granted or mailed to you prior to the event, and then at the event you're basically invited, and they announce the award. And then the submission process is basically you have to turn in an essay. You have to turn in a current enrollment verification form and a student application form, as well as 2 letters in support of your worthiness to gaining the award. So one has to be from a fellow colleague, so a student, and then the other one would be from a faculty member of the institution. And then each letter cannot exceed 2 pages each. So I found all this information, all the links, everything is linked on the APTA website.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Sarah, are you there?
Yes. Okay,
All
so
right, Sarah's next.
I'm Sarah, and for mine, I had special interest groups. So with that I'm going to make it short and sweet. Special interest groups are SIGs, and they are actually a branch off of something bigger called chapters and sections. So sections are the academia or educational aspect of physical therapy, and then branching off of the sections are chapters that are groups, as discussed in some of the other presenters, that are governed by an elected board of directors, and they are representative of each state. And within those chapters, we have special interest groups. And then aside from the general management, chapters can be used to network and develop ideas that are state specific for sections that they specialize in. And SIGs are past that specialize in other branches of therapy. They can either be a private practice, they can go into pediatrics, research, sports, geriatrics, and more. For example, you can be a PT that specializes in the treatments of patients that experience strokes or the education of that group. And for instance, the Texas Physical Therapy Association, the Texas chapter, has pediatrics, physical therapy assistant, and private practice research and students. And the ATPA's website provides links to the different chapters from each state, so you can select where you're at and which SIGs are practiced in that area. And in order to join a section, chapter, or SIG, you must be a member of the APTA, pay their membership fees, and be a member. And each state may also require an additional fee or membership.
Okay, good. Yeah, it is good to keep I mean, special interest groups probably don't make much sense to y'all now as a student, and you probably don't care much about them as a student, but once you get out there and start working, and then you find your niches, and then you find like the areas that you want to practice, then it makes more sense, and then you'll probably be more likely to look for them. Okay, good. So let's see, who's next? Sabrina went. That was Sarah. So we need Mariah and David, and I think y'all are last.
I already went.
Oh, you went. I just didn't check you. Okay, David, you're up. Save the best for last, I hope.
Hi, everyone. My topic was on the latest physical therapy news. With that, I'll be focusing in on telemedicine. What is telemedicine? Telemedicine is just a general concept for patients and their healthcare providers to communicate when they're not in person. Some of the examples include video conferencing, phone calls, or emails. Why would someone want to do telemedicine? One, it's easy for patient accessibility. You don't need to travel. If you're on with vacation, or if you're needing some more specialists in your area, you don't have to travel for that. Follow-up, they're easy. Patients are more likely to stay with their routines. What kind of patients can benefit from telemedicine PC? Patients that have recently had an injury, like a sprained ankle, foot pain, sore back. Current patients who want to keep up with their progress or more advice. And patients who are recovering from recent operations. They're recovering at home, but they don't want to stay idle, and they just want suggestions on new exercises. And to demonstrate this, I'm just going to do a quick mock-up. So if you see my arm here, patient comes in and says, "Oh, my wrist hurts. I can't grip anymore." As a PT, PTA, you'll be like, "Okay, well, let me see if you can do any wrist extension, any wrist extension, any flexion," and you will just give them exercises, like, for example, tell them to grab a tennis ball, squeeze it, improve hand strength, and do some extension, some flexion with it. So that's how telemedicine would work in a PT setting.
Very good. Yes, guys. Telemedicine was getting big, but then when the pandemic hit, I mean, it really took off. So y'all are gonna, I bet a lot of y'all are gonna be practicing with telemedicine. So it's pretty big. All right, guys, I've recorded all of these. So any questions on anything? You're not gonna be, do not think you have to know everything about every single topic. Just, you might get a question or two about some of the main important topics, but you can probably, as you probably heard, a lot of your topics overlapped. And then most of it is just, some of it's common sense. But like I said, y'all are gonna have this video as a reference, and then I'm gonna compile the most important info y'all need from each presentation and send to y'all sometime this week. So you'll have it over the break, okay? Okay, so y'all remember the day that's the end of class. The day we come back from break, well, our first day back from break is going to be our first test, okay? So it's going to be over just the introductory stuff about the profession that we've went over so far in just our first couple of lessons, and then what y'all talked about today, okay? And I'm not going to take a lot of questions from what y'all talked about today, but it'll be just some of the basics, okay? All right, so any questions before we stop?